But I have so many questions about the Bud Crawford Canelo matchup that's coming up. Now, let's talk about the tail of the tape. We have Crawford that's going to be older than Canelo, coming in on fight night 38. And then we have Canelo, who is going to be 36. So we have Crawford, who's older, who's also, he's used to campaigning at 147, coming all the way up to 168. To where Canelo reigns king. This fight bothers me. And I got to say it. I got to say it. Why? Well, let me back up. You remember when you were a kid, or at least when I was a kid, they'd say, "Hey, would you fight Mike Tyson for $1 million?" And some people would be like, "Yeah." Some people would be like, "No." You know what I'm saying? Is your health worth $1 million? Because, you know, as a kid, you get in there with Mike Tyson, you're most likely going to lose. And you're not going to be walking out too healthy. But Bud was asked, would you fight Canelo for $30 million? And I'm sure Bud was like, he thought about it for a second. Thought about that bag, $30 million, that's a lot of money. What does he have to lose? He's 38 years old. So he took the fight. He said, hell yeah, I'll take that shit. Right? Hell yeah, I'll take that shit. So that's one of the things that really sticks out in my mind. It's like, come on, bro. I'm not blaming Crawford either. I'm not blaming Crawford. Anybody wants that big payday. Anybody would like, hell yeah, $30 million. Hell yeah, fight Canelo for $30 million. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't think that he could beat Canelo. He should think that he should beat Canelo. He can beat Canelo. But me on the outside, I'm using logic. I'm asking questions. I'm asking questions like, if you really wanted to fight Canelo, why didn't you fight Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders? Why didn't you fight Callum Smith? Why didn't you fight Triple G? Triple G was available. He may not have that bag, though. See, that bag plays a factor. And again, I'm not blaming Bud for taking the bag. But the whole thing is, I believe he's doing it for the bag. And shout out to Terrence Crawford. You're taking a risk, you know, but at the same time, you're getting that reward too, you know. So it's like, even if he wins, if Terrence Crawford wins, it's like, will other fighters take that risk for a smaller bag? Will the next 147 pounder, 154 pounder jump up to 68 for a smaller bag? Probably not. Money motivates a lot of people, you know. And that's one thing that you have to consider in this type of fight, is the money. Doing it for the money versus doing it for the legacy versus doing it for I'm the baddest motherfucker and I know I can beat Canelo. Take David Benavidez. David Benavidez has been wanting to fight Canelo for many years, and that's the fight that we've all been asking for. My thing is, who has Crawford fought in the last year? Crawford's last fight was back in August 2024, exactly a year ago. Almost a year ago to this date, he's fought one fight. And in that fight, he fought Ismail Madrimov. And in that fight, he didn't look spectacular like he usually looks. He didn't look spectacular. He looked less than spectacular. And he admits that. He said that he didn't look good in his last fight. Question is, why didn't he look good in his last fight? Was it a bad training camp? Was he injured? Was his weight just too slow? Was Madrimov a little bit better than what Terence Crawford thought? Was his power not the same? Did his power not impact the same way that it did at 47? All of these are unanswered questions. And this is at 54 pounds. We're not going to see him go to 160 to gauge how great he is. We can't see him fight an average 160 and see, hey, man, Terence Crawford looked average at 160. He didn't clean out 154. He fought one fight at 154. One fight. And this is not dissing Terence Crawford. This is asking questions like, it's kind of suspect. Why don't you clear out? Why don't you fight more at 154? Why don't you fight at 160? Why don't you get in and tune up at 168 before Canelo? And in my mind, I think the reason why is because we would see how great or not great he is at that weight. This is not to take anything away from him at what he did at 147. He was excellent at 147. He was a great fighter at 147. But we're not talking about 147. We are talking about the reigning champion at 168. And Terence didn't look that good at 54. And he only fought once at 54. If he got in a couple fights at 54, a couple fights at 60, and a couple fights at 68, and he still looked good, I'll be like, hell yeah. But it's just too many unknowns to be so confident in a man's ability that we have not seen at any more than once at 54, never at 60, never at 68. So this is like a good little guy coming up 2 weight classes to try to beat the champion at 168. And Terence hasn't been fighting since a year. And let's look at Canelo. Canelo has been busy. William Skull 3 months ago. Edgar Berlanga last September. Jaime Munguia in May last year. He fought 2 times last year, once this year. And Terence Crawford, within the last year, fought once. One time. He only fought once last year. Let that sink in. Canelo fought twice last year, once this year so far in May. And now he's fighting again next month. Add to that, Canelo has 63 fights with all-star boxing Hall of Famers Floyd Mayweather, Triple G, Dimitri Bivol, while Terence Crawford had what Hall of Famer he fought? Maybe Errol Spence at 47. All those fights with Canelo were at 160, 168. And he actually went up to 175, but that was more than a couple years ago. That was like 2-3 years ago. He went up and fought Bivol at 175. That was just one weight class he went up. And he didn't get knocked out, but he didn't look like the dominant fighter like he does at 168. So when you go up one weight class, it matters. Just like Triple G, he didn't want to go up to 168. And that's Triple G. Stayed at 160. So those are just some things to think about. I'm not expecting too much from Crawford. You know, I'm really not, because he hasn't done too much. He hasn't looked impressive above 147. I'm not saying he won't look impressive against Canelo, but I mean, if you didn't look impressive at 54 and you're skipping over 60, which is a tough division, and you're going to 68 to fight the champion, come on, man. I gotta keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? I like Crawford. I like Canelo, but you know, I call a spade a spade. You only fought once in a year, while Canelo's fought 2-3 times at 68, and you fought once at 54, and we don't know why you didn't look that impressive at 54. Come on, man. Gotta call a spade a spade. I'm looking forward to the fight, but my expectations aren't too high for Terence Crawford. I hope to be entertained. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.